Mindset podcast for people who are looking for real change. I'm Jennifer Lauer, writer, yogi, and fitness fanatic. Lately, I've been having lots of coffee meetups, long, honest conversations that delve into mindset, identity, choices, and habits that shape our lives. I kept thinking how I wanted to share these conversations, so here we are. Each episode moves in 3 beats: an inspirational story, an interview with thinkers, builders, athletes, and artists, people who want to share their own transformations. And we'll end with a brief meditation to practice calming the nervous system. If you've been connecting with the stories and conversations here, I've also written some fiction that explore emotional spaces. One is an AI dystopia, and the others are part of a paranormal mystery series. So if you're ever curious, you can find them on my website, jenniferleelauer.com. Today's inspo is something I read in Maggie Smith's book, Dear Writer. This is her book about craft. Maggie Smith is a beautiful writer and poet. She talked about something in the beginning of her book that really took me, and I am definitely adopting it. It's called beauty emergency. She coined this term with her and her family whenever they would see something beautiful or wanted to tell each other about something they saw. They would say, beauty emergency, beauty emergency. I feel like part of the job of a writer is to notice. We're always noticing whether it's mundane things or truly beautiful things. Beauty is important. There's so much chaos and negativity and darkness in the world. I think beauty gives us something to aspire to. It gives us something to delight in this human experience. I am definitely going to be shouting beauty emergency all of the time, whether it's seeing 3 cars of the same kind parked in a row, or a butterfly landing on a flower, or the moon having an eclipse. Constantly, I feel like my family were always saying, come look at the moon, come look at the moon. And so now I'll be yelling, beauty emergency. Do you shout something when you see something beautiful? If so, let me know what it is. And Maggie Smith, I just find that completely delightful. Today's episode is the Q&A episode. I always love a Q&A episode on a podcast, and I'm very excited to answer a few questions that have been submitted. If you would like to submit a question for a future Q&A episode, you can email me at questions@kingsofcontent.com. That's questions@kingsofcontent.com. So let's get to the first question. Okay. I've just written my first book. Should I try my hand at becoming traditionally published or go indie? Great question. But first of all, congratulations. Finishing a book is a huge feat. It can take some people many, many years. I'm speaking of myself. I hope you take a moment to celebrate that big milestone of completing your first book. Whether or not you should go traditional or indie, I think it's a deeply personal decision. And they both have their pluses. So I'll just go over a couple of things to consider. No matter what decision you make, it's going to be great. So congratulations. Let's talk about a couple of great things for being traditionally published. The number one thing I feel like is that you have a team. You have someone who supports your book, believes in it enough to get you a book deal. You have this team. You have someone else that is with you along the journey. Having that camaraderie really helps when you are doing such a big professional jump. A pro of being indie is that the timeline is based on you. Traditional publishing has a reputation for being epically slow. You write the book, maybe it takes you 6 months to a year to hear back from an agent who wants to rep your book, and then maybe it takes 3 months to a year to get a book deal. This is all if things are moving along quickly. It can take much longer than this. By the time you've edited the book, it's gone through all of the processes of traditional publishing. Your book comes out 2 to 3 years after you wrote it. And so that's just a long time to wait. With indie, your timeline is based on you. Yes, you still have to edit the book. Yes, you still have to make big decisions about it, but there isn't this bureaucracy that you're not in control of. I think control of your timeline is a huge pro for indie. Having a team behind you is a huge pro for traditional. Another pro for traditional, the promotion in mainstream spaces. You are going to get a publicist, and yes, they are going to be focused on many books, not just yours. However, having access to a professional promotional team is something that you don't have with indie. All of the marketing is going to be through your publisher and just has more street cred, I guess, to get into those big mainstream places. A pro for indie, I have to say this is one of my biggest, is you retain ownership of your IP. Your intellectual property belongs to you. As someone who finds that truly important to an artist, retaining your ownership of your work is a huge bonus to going indie. Another pro for traditional is the prestige, the social proof. You get to tell someone that you are published by Penguin Random House. There is like that cachet, you feel chosen, you've been validated. I don't want to overlook the value in being validated by a prestigious publisher. That is very important for a lot of people. For indie, the last pro I'll talk about is you make the big decisions. So the cover, the editor, the marketing campaign, book tour, all of those things are in your control. Pro or a con, depending on the kind of person that you are. Getting to make those decisions. And it's not that you wouldn't have input at a big publisher. For sure, if you're going indie, you would have control over deciding those big things, which do pertain to the art of your project and what you're making. I would say think hard about what you want and consider why you want it. That was a big deal for me, is considering why did I want to go traditional? Why? And the answers to that affected a lot of my decisions when it came to publishing my book. And then my last bit of advice is just to make the decision with your whole heart and enjoy the ride. Because publishing a book is so exciting and beautiful. And I bring up that statistic that I read once that like 90% of people want to write a book and only 2% ever do. Even less of a percent start a book, ever finish one. You are already in the very small minority of finishing a book. So that just says so much about you. It's going to be really fun and it's going to be really hard. I just hope you enjoy the ride. Thank you for that question. Question number 2. What do you do to escape writer's block? That is worded appropriately, to escape writer's block. Okay, so there's debate. Does writer's block exist? For the sake of this question, we'll just say that it does exist. I would say the first thing to do is figure out where in the process you are. Are you at the beginning of a project, in the middle of a project, between projects, or near the end? Because that is going to be a huge deal in how you approach it. If it were me, these are the things I would do to jumpstart my writing. The first thing I need to do is to get myself writing again. Whether it's a week, a month, a year, write something very short. It's a poem, an email, text 5 friends, that's writing, journal, anything to get yourself back into the act of writing. And I know texting and emailing doesn't feel like writing, but it is if you compose them with purpose. If you're doing this because you're trying to break your writer's block, maybe text your friend a complete sentence that is, are meeting them for dinner and you want to tell them in the most poetic way you can. Also, I love haiku, so I would probably write a haiku. I'm always telling myself this advice. Start with the most exciting scene. If you have a story idea, get to the most exciting scene. Because if you're bored, the reader's going to be bored. Another thing you can do is tell someone about the story. Sometimes just talking about the story with someone who is a good, engaged listener is more helpful than actually anything you can do on the page. You'll get feedback from that person. And talking to somebody about your story, sometimes when you say it out loud, you realize things and you get excited about it and you push it forward. That's why I love collaboration when it comes to writing. I think that that can be really helpful. If you're the kind of person that needs to kind of hard nose yourself to get yourself to do something, tell yourself you're going to write for 5 minutes. Take the babiest baby step. By the end of the day today, I'm going to write for 5 minutes. And that's it. 5 minutes. And then regarding where in the process you are, just a couple of quick things. If you're at the beginning of the story and you go into writer's block, consider starting the story in a different place. If you are in the middle of a story when you get writer's block, I would use that start with an exciting scene. Whether you need to go to the end and write the ending first, just jump to the most interesting part. If you're between projects and you can't think of an idea for your next thing, my advice would be to go consume art. I get so inspired. Go see a play, go to a concert, watch a movie, watch a TV show, go to an art museum. Whenever I see other artists making their art, I am so deeply inspired to make my own. And then if you're near the end of a story and you go into writer's block, I would wonder if the ending I had planned is something I really want to write. And maybe I'm just avoiding writing the ending in my mind. To break that kind of writer's block, I would tell myself, okay, I'm going to write 3 different endings. I'll write whatever I'd planned. I'll write the complete polar opposite of the end, and then I'll write something really avant-garde. See how that goes. That's my advice if you are struggling with writer's block. I feel like there's always a way around it. You have to find that little thing that turns you on. Our final question number 3. I am terrible at meditation. Everyone says it's good for you and that we should all be meditating. What if we can't? Okay. This is so relatable. There is such a myriad of things that we are told in today's society that we need to master in order to be happy. Whether it's exercise more, be in a community, eat more protein, in this case, meditate, we can only do what we can do and what we want to do. I'd say if meditation is difficult or unappealing to you, then maybe don't focus on it so much. We all kind of do tiny acts of meditation without effort. Finding it inside like a deep inhale of your morning coffee, in a long hug with someone you love, taking a walk in nature. I feel like we're experiencing meditation during those times. It's anytime you're observing yourself without judgment, being present with a person or being present in your work. I like to think of meditation as engaging in the moment. I feel like anyone can benefit from meditation in the simplest form. Bring attention to your breathing. That's it, simple. Do a simple body scan. Listen to a guided meditation. You can find them on YouTube. If you look to earlier episodes of this podcast, I've led meditations. The body scan is a good one to get started. I also have a handful of meditations on Insight Timer for free. I can link that in the show notes. Yeah, I think you're doing fine. If you are truly interested in adding meditation to your life, you will. You'll find a way. And maybe it's not for you for now. And that's okay too. Finding moments of solitude where you can, taking a moment to breathe, taking a moment to be with yourself, notice what your senses are feeling. Those things can all be meditation. At the end of this podcast, we do 3 breaths, so you can start there. Well, those are all of the questions for today. If you have a question, it could be about anything, writing, fitness, meditation, anything you might be wondering about. Follow me and DM me on Instagram at Jennifer Lee Lauer. You can email at questions@kingsofcontent.com. That's kingsofcontent, content with a K, questions@kingsofcontent.com. Thank you so much and keep them coming. This is fun. Today's breaths are to calm everyday stress. Let's just take these breaths, no matter what is going on in your life, no matter what you are worried about, whatever stress you have, for these next 3 breaths, all of it disappears and everything is right in the world. You are safe, you are cared for, everything is good, just for these 3 breaths. Let's take the first breath. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe in calm and clarity. And breathe out, letting go of anything you're worrying over. Slow and steady. Let's take a second breath in, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your face. And breathe out. All of the breath, push it all out. We're really going to luxuriate in this final breath of calm. Allow the whole body to release your troubles and breathe in some solitude. Breathe in, inhale, and exhale. May you carry this moment of calm through your day. Thank you for listening to Jennifer with Coffee. Follow us on Instagram at Jennifer with Coffee and on Substack. This has been a Kings of Content production. Music by Oreo CC.